Baby, don't mess around. Find a path to follow. Baby, don't mess around, mess around.
Jack Hodges, thanks so much for having a chat with me today. You're also known as Do What Feels Good on Instagram.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that name.
Okay, so Do What Feels Good. It's a philosophy of life. Yeah, to be doing things that you enjoy, to spend time, doing something that you love. If you're not invested in something and you can feel it, then it might be a good idea to switch things up, I guess. And yeah, the name came about when I was maybe 16 or younger, 15, getting up to a bit of mischief, hanging out with some friends back in Port Elliot in South Australia. And yeah, had a spray can and wrote it on someone's shed. Do what feels good in the moment. Copped a bit the next day from my stepdad, I think it was, because he just said how terrible it looked. So I stopped using that alias for a while, but then enough time's passed that I can use it again.
Yeah, right. Let's unpack it a little bit. Do what feels good. Is that from a hedonistic place? Or is it for you specifically when you're making art and you're like, I'm going to work with this because this feels good, or I'm doing this because this feels good? Can you dive into it a bit more?
It's more life in general. I guess, I recently had that exhibition about leisure, work and well-being, and I liked that concept because it related really well to Do What Feels Good. So leisure, work and well-being. So the balance at Archive in Taormina. Yeah. So looking at different concepts of work, what is a job, why do you do it, the difference between a job, a career and a calling. It's this huge topic, this topic of leisure. And I guess it relates to everyone. So everyone has moments in their life, where they feel they're not passionate about something, or they're spending all their time at work and they don't have any energy in their spare time. So it's about what do you want to do the most in your spare time. So if you had free time and if you had choices, what would you be doing? Yeah.
Well, that's beautiful. That explains it.
So everything.
Yeah, that's kind of tuning people into... No, you're not just doing something because it's just an instant hit of dopamine. You're doing something because it's like, a higher calling. And it's beautiful that you got to express that through an exhibition. You had installations. I'm pretty sure I saw fairy bread there as well.
Thanks to Sarah.
Yeah. And there were some other things. Tell us a little bit more about, the installations and the experience.
Yeah, so me and my wife, Ale, who's also known as caracola, which is Spanish for one of those big shells that you blow on like a horn. We've been getting into cardboard, so we've been making some big sculptures. We're also in the VHS crew with some friends in South Australia. So we enjoy painting VHSs. We grab VHS covers. We've got a whole stash of them. Everyone grabs a cover and we paint the cover on a wall as closely as possible, but also deliberately doing it kind of bad. So it's got a bit of an edge to it. So we created a giant VHS, me and Ale, and then that was incorporated into the show. And we did a surf video called Get the Feeling with ex-Aussie world champ on the cover, Barton Lynch. And I guess it related to the Do What Feels Good vibe as well, because, get the feeling, chase the waves, get barreled, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm a surfer. Love surfing. I'd probably Yeah, I think I'd like to be doing that most of the time, really. I was thinking art, surfing, but yeah, I think surfing would win.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let's take it back to those days where the Do What Feels Good came out on the wall and you were young and you were in the street and you were doing graffiti. Tell me about your background with that, with street art.
Okay, with street art. My bro got me into graffiti. So him and his mates, I was the annoying younger brother wanting to do whatever he did. So yeah, just wanting to jump on and hang out with the cool guys. So yeah, he got me into it. Started doing graffiti, painting letters. Letters hasn't been a huge part of my art. I've done it for a while, but I've always been, felt a bit, like there's too many rules to paint letters. Like to do graffiti, you do your letters, you do your 3D, you do a key line, all these rules to make it graffiti art. And painting really clean, where I have always enjoyed being a bit messier, painting messy, and kind of not just doing what everyone else is doing, painting letters and sticking to the rules. So I guess aerosol, yes, like it's super fast. Use your whole body, you go on missions, it's kind of like sport painting. It's athletic, you might have to run or climb things. So I really love that side to it. And it introduced me to that whole world of street art. But since then I guess I still like using aerosol, but I've drifted away more on using paintbrushes. I studied in Santiago, Chile for a year, and I saw people there because spray cans are expensive, which is the main reason they're doing it. But here everyone will just use spray cans for everything. But there they'll only use the spray can to do the outline, and all the middle they'll use rollers or even just outline with a paintbrush. Yeah, and I found that super inspiring. It showed me, you can basically do whatever you want. Here people can be a bit stuck in what is graffiti, what isn't graffiti, whereas there it seems a lot looser. So I found that really inspiring. And then, going to Indonesia as well, and it was a similar approach. And also over there, like South America, Indonesia, there's so much freedom to paint anywhere. Like you can just knock on someone's door and say, hey, can I paint your front wall? And they're open to it because I guess places are a lot more colourful. People want more colour in their house. Here, I guess houses are bigger and people are a lot more precious of their house, or they want the beauty of their house is more shown in the size or cleanliness, whereas their colours play a bigger part from what I've observed. So it's just more open, less rules, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. Graffiti artists seem to be some of the most misunderstood, and in a way the suppression causes, this is from a viewer's perspective, causes people, I guess, to be more rushed or to do things more out of rebellion, right? Rather than try and focus. If it was celebrated and welcomed and there was more free walls or laneways painted for, or people's houses were encouraged to be painted, there'd be so much more emphasis on the skill and trying to make things beautiful. But it feels like in Australia that there's still this rebellion, right? Of kids growing up and wanting to express. Can you dive a little bit into the philosophy around graffiti art and why it could be so misunderstood and something like that?
Yeah, I guess one of the attractions is that it's misunderstood. So it puts you in a group that's exclusive, and people who are into it notice the people that are doing it. So the more you get up, the more points you have within that group. Like living in a city, say, Adelaide, the more time you get your name up around the city, the more spots in the city, the more points you'll sort of get within that group, and people notice you. So you'll meet, people know of you without meeting you.
So what's the difference
And-
between a name or a scenery? Is the name more attached to the rebellious side rather than putting, like, you know, you've done an astronaut down at Nambucca, that's not your name. Is that because it was allowed? Like, is the tag and the name something to do with this sort of internal game between crews or something? Or
I guess it developed in New York, painting trains in the 70s and the 80s, and they started painting their names, getting up and starting this game. You know, I want my name to be everywhere, I want people to see me. So that same idea has come here and it's really popular, and there's lots of people who only paint letters, and that's more traditional, and people are only into that, which is, you know, great. And, you know, yeah, that's a style that people are extremely talented in and, you know, get lots of respect from, but the general public doesn't understand that as much. Like, I've grown up with it and I love it. The general public's always like, oh, I love the portraits and I love the trees, but I hate the tags. And it's always sort of, you know, the person who's painting the trees as a street art would have started doing the tags. You've got to start somewhere. Yeah, so, and they'll always be annoyed, like, your fence getting tagged. You know, you've just painted your fence and someone tags it. Sure enough, you might be peed off. Me personally, because maybe I'm a bit different, I don't really care, because, you know, I get it. Kids are bored or they want to cause a bit of trouble. This is one of those outlets where they can use that kind of energy. The energy it comes from, I guess, adrenaline, which can be used in lots of different ways. I guess it's annoying if you need to paint over it, but in the end of the day, it's only paint.
exactly.
It's not like you're hurting somebody physically or, you're showing hate to someone in any way. I guess it depends what is written. There are hateful things that get written, and depending what it is, maybe it should be painted over. But when it comes to tags, which is more stylized letters, so it's a signature, and it's about trying to flex the letters, you know, as much as you can, and you're trying to get your tag as cool as possible. Yeah, it's basically trying to be really cool with a bunch of people, I guess. Yeah.
Fascinating. So I guess you have your thoughts on Banksy then. Would you care to share? Or maybe I'll give a little background. Banksy is this anonymous character that has been, well, I guess he's not tagging, right? He's doing portraits. He does all sorts of things. Stencils and all over the world. And for someone that's been in the graph world, what's your perspective, or what's the current consensus on Banksy? I'd like a little bit insight into that, because he's world famous now.
Yeah, Banksy's huge. I guess doing street art, people always refer you to Banksy because everybody knows who he is. He's a stencil artist, so what Banksy does is very different than, say, Revoke, who's this huge graffiti artist in Los Angeles. So, like, Banksy is more about creating commentary on political issues, which I think is amazing, and art is so powerful in that sense, especially when it's public. You can put a strong message in front of people who wouldn't usually think about things like that, or who only watch one station on TV, so they wouldn't be open to different ideas like that. So I love the power that public art has in that sense. And also illegal art. Banksy's work is illegal. So he can get it in spots where it wouldn't be allowed, which would get more exposure, and he can put ideas across that he wouldn't get commissioned to do, which is super important. Yeah, but it's very different what he's doing compared to, say, a graffiti artist in Los Angeles painting freight trains.
Yes, exactly.
Or
but it's under the street art umbrella.
Yeah.
But he is someone that's potentially made millions off it, when then there's these other kids that are getting, paraded and pushed to the side, but they have the potential, if it's nurtured in the right environment, as you said, to create something as important and as political. And it seems, you know, all street art is pattern interruption. You know, you're walking down the street, just looking at normal concrete. Even if it is just a tag and it's just, you know, someone's name, all of a sudden it's just showing you, there's something different, there's an opportunity there. And we spoke off camera how you were saying, you know, advertisements are allowed to be everywhere. You know, people's faces, flashing bills, whatever. You know, this is kind of like society going, well, we'll just mirror back with our contribution as well. To tie back to Banksy with his political forthrightness, has that ever been inspired in you? Like, have you had things where you'd say you're an activist, or you've wanted to do something out of aggression to make a change or draw awareness to?
Yeah, I guess that's why I find art so important, because of its power to spread messages. All of my murals, I try and put some kind of message in there, whether it's anti-racism, environmentalism, even transphobia. So, I guess Banksy has inspired me. Don't know how directly. I don't know that much about Banksy, but I have seen his big works. Yeah, but I think just community of artists in general, street artists and not street artists, to be equally inspiring in terms of political messaging. Yeah. I've made stickers, lots of stickers, anti-racism stickers, and fundraised and earned money that way, which has been, pretty good. Yeah. Community art, bringing people together, asking questions, sharing stories with each other. I find that's a really powerful way to do things. Bring people together who, have different points of view and listening to each other. I find that's probably the most powerful thing with art.
And it's beautiful because you can work across so many different mediums, like you're doing sculptures and installations and, you know, painting and the graphing and whatever. And one of the most notable things I saw you do, which was super powerful, because focusing locally in a small way is super powerful. The crop car up in the Northern Territory, how you were encouraging the kids to get to school. You know, this is in a small area, but somewhere super remote, and you did this most like audacious and colourful thing. Tell us more about it.
So the crop car, which is that car out there, the Hilux. Okay. That came about with a collective called the Bait Fridge from Adelaide, friends of mine, and I was living and working at the time in Goombalanya, West Arnhem Land. And in the initial stages of the Bait Fridge I was involved, and then I moved away, but I'd always kept in contact. So I knew that if we got them to Goombalanya, something incredible would happen. So got them up there. They're all incredible artists, you know, interdisciplinary artists, musicians, photographers, painters, you know, installation artists, digital artists, they do it all. So it's like this injection of however many people, there are 7 people, 8 people to do something really cool, and having that many hands on deck. So West Arnhem Land, famous for crocodiles, Cahill's Crossing there, which is on the border of Kakadu and Arnhem Land, is known as like the crockiest crossing in Australia or something. So we're just like, we've got to do something at Cahill's Crossing. Yeah. And then, I don't know whose idea it was originally, maybe Emmeline's idea, but turning the car out there into a croc, going to the dump, sourced all the materials, so find anything that's green, put it in the pile, then see how we're going to turn the car into a croc.
Amazing.
And it came together, had moving arms, had moving eyes, made out of meshing, green meshing, old car, bike tyres. What else was on there? All sorts, just bits of plastic basically. Lots of plastic, lots of wire, cardboard. And ended up making the ABC News. So that was a good
I
outcome.
loved how the eyes were attached to the windscreen wipers. Then you see it crossing across. And to get the image in the audience's mind, it was this Toyota Hilux and it literally was covered head to toe, all the wheels, everything completely green. And you even had the teeth there. And there was these beautiful images of children and people running alongside. And so would you say it was a success? And did the croc car go anywhere else?
It was a huge success. Yeah, everyone loved it. It was involved in the parade, getting the kids to school. They do a back to school parade at the start of every term. Yeah, and we had drummers and turned into, quite the event and contributed to getting kids to school. So that was the main thing. Yeah, and that's how success was measured.
Amazing.
The croc car, yeah.
Have you got something outrageous like that planned for the Mid-North Coast? Now that you're rooted, now that you're based here?
Well, we've done a few outrageous things. I guess we did the giant VHS tape and left it in the main street of Nambucca.
Amazing.
And on a
This
Sunday
was
morning.
after the archive?
Before.
Okay, yeah.
And we just thought we'd see what people's reactions were. We sat across the road in the bakery and just had a coffee or something. And it was incredible how many people didn't notice it.
What?
So many people just walked straight past and didn't realise there was a giant VHS tape
That's kind of sad.
right in front of them, apart from the kids.
Oh, well, the kids are onto it.
The kids were onto it. And one old grandma was a bit confused. Everyone else walked straight past.
Wow.
Yeah, so more is needed.
Definitely, to get people out of their...
Yeah, make people notice.
Out of their spells. I'm going to share a little story here, sorry, but I had the similar same realisation. So with payphones at the moment, you can actually ring a payphone. I don't know if you knew that. So you go to a payphone and you dial your mobile number and then the number will come up on your phone so you can ring it back. And I just decided this was my sort of way of an artistic expression. I just sat nearby and rang a payphone and I wanted to see how many people would answer. And everyone just walked past. It blew my mind. The only people who picked up were the kids. And they were hilarious, you know, and I'd have conversations with them. And I was just sitting in a car with tinted windows, like having a laugh. But it's that same thing of, where is everyone's mind? They're just at the end of their nose, you know, paycheck, or da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, yeah, we got to ramp up the art.
Exactly. Yeah, well, I'm happy you asked the question, what's next? Because, it's a good question.
You don't know yet?
Well, in terms of cars, we're making a giant Holden out of cardboard for the Kempsey Laneway Festival.
Oh, cool.
But that's not too outrageous. It needs to be something a bit more outrageous. Like, turning the car into something, not just a car, you know?
Yeah. Well, maybe there's some seeds planted for you. You can do something wild.
Yeah.
This kind of brings me to our next question. What kind of art do you think the world needs right now? You know, obviously living in some strange times.
Yeah. What art does the world need? All art. So, something exciting, something vibrant, something that's going to make someone smile, something that adds or enlivens an area. So, like lots of the time you see spaces that have been looking the same for so long and you don't notice the space, or you go into offices or shops and it's all a white room, and just how much difference just a colourful piece of artwork can make. And I guess everyone reads into it differently, which is the beauty of it. Political art as well. I guess political art, people hate it and they love it. And I guess that's the idea, that's politics in general. And more art just to get people to come together. I guess that's the main reason for art, is to provide an opportunity for people to come together and have a chat or have a good time.
Starts a conversation.
Yeah. I guess that's the beauty of an art opening. Brings people together, live music.
From a
people to do that.
philosophical point of view, how would you define art? I know it's a big one, but like for you personally,
how would I define art? Well, people say art can be anything, don't they? It just depends on how you're looking at it, and I kind of agree with that. Like, that's what inspires me to do a painting, is you look at something, in the external world, and think, oh, that would make a good painting. And then what you're looking at is art because it's inspired you. And I guess, that's the thing when you see people stick a, banana to a wall in a gallery or something.
Exactly where my mind was. Because I guess that's more the postmodern theory now, right? Is that everything can be art and it doesn't matter about a quality or a standard or a craftsmanship. It's more just the expression.
About the idea.
Do you feel like you side more with that rather than perfecting craftsmanship, or do you think both is valuable?
Both is valuable. I like to start with an idea. So with the exhibition, start with the concept and then make work, related to that concept. So I think it's important to start with an idea and then develop your art out of the idea. But I also think it's important to hone your craft. And, if you spent so much time doing something, it's good to keep doing it so you can get better. Like, I feel I still have a lot to go with my painting, and, I've learned a lot and I've improved a lot, but I still look at my art and think that it could be better. And, I think most artists are like that, or,
That's a good place to be. You don't want to ever arrive.
Exactly. I guess we'll never get there.
So to finish up, if you have some advice for some young aspiring artists, those kiddies growing up, what would you tell them? So don't be afraid to get into it. If it interests you, ask questions. Go up to an artist who you find inspiring and ask them some questions. Ask, to get involved and just to make art. I'm just thinking about me when I was younger. Guess it's easy to be self-conscious about your art, about putting it out there, about sharing it with others. But most people, you're going to think a lot more about your own art, and other people are going to be a lot more encouraging than you're probably expecting them to be. I guess the cliche answer would be do what feels good. Perfect. Thank you so much for having a chat with me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Great having a chat.
Look forward to your next work.
Cheers.